Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are continuing our budget Kindred, looking at the top 10 Dragon Commanders today. So this is a big one. I think a lot of Dragon Commanders are kind of overplayed or maybe a little bit boring. Even the budget ones. So I'm trying to focus on ones that are maybe a bit less overplayed or not overplayed. That's what I'm trying to say. There's one on the list here where I definitely think you're going to be like, oh yeah, of course that one. But other than that, I think they're an eclectic mix. Please hit like and subscribe. If you don't hit like and subscribe, those kids from the kindergarten down the street, they're going to come to your house and draw all over your walls. Like, it's going to be like ruined, basically. All right? So what is budget? I mean $2 or less, and then I use the TCG market value, not a sponsor, not one bit. And we are looking at some of the most interesting, the budget Dragon Commanders with interesting mechanics and lower saltiness. That's really what I'm focusing on here. Trying to get ones that are maybe a bit not as heavily played. Again, that one is going to be, you're going to be like, yeah, that's extremely heavily played. So there is one on the list, but lower saltiness. Again, kind of except for that same one, I think. And interesting mechanics. That's really the main focus here is like, what can you build around it? Does it have like real kind of meat on the bone mechanically? Honorable mention. Okay, so Miram Skyworm, or Sentinel Worm, Skyworm. Anyway. 3 green, blue, red teamer for the 6/6 flying ward 2. He makes token copies of, she makes token copies of dragons that enter the battlefield. Do you need that? This is like one of the saltiest commanders you can find. If your playgroup's cool with it, it's fine. But like, if you just show up with this to like a random playgroup, don't be surprised if people are a little bit irritated with you. So yeah, I actually did a video on, I did a collaboration with typical Gemini. I always want to call the Zodiac thing confuses me. I want to call it by a different creator that has a Zodiac name. The other creator is a criminal, so I don't want to mess that up. But anyway, yeah. Typical Gemini and I did a collaboration talking about how to counter Miram. If you want to check that out, I will link it above here. And yeah, should be an interesting one to go back and see. Number 10. Okay, Scanos Dragonheart. 4 and a green for this Dragon Ranger. He's a 4/4, I should say as well. Not a flyer. He's not a real dragon, I think. Anyway, whenever he attacks it, he gets +X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among dragons you control and dragon cards in your graveyard. So dragons you control or in your graveyard are going to give him this bonus. You could even discard a really high attack value dragon and he's going to get that bonus every turn. Whoa, that's a lot. Especially, he has background, so you can go with Dragon Cultist, and every time source does 5 or more damage, you get not every time, once per turn. If a source does 5 or more damage, you get a 4/4 dragon creature token with flying at the beginning of your end step. So that's going to pretty much be like just a whole bunch of like bonus dragons over and over and over. Really, you just need any other dragon with like 1 power, and as soon as he can get through, boom, you're done. Give him like pretty much any kind of evasion and double strike, and you've got your Voltron build right there. So very easy Voltron build that can keep the value train going quite easily. Also, what's really good about this, it's Gruul. Green-red Gruul is like the prime colors for dragons, I think. So this would be very much like a dragon-centered deck, and this would be all about like getting those big dragons out and just smash. And then as an added benefit, you've got Voltron as well. So yeah, 13 cents for both of them. For both him and the background is 13 cents altogether. Number 9. Okay, Lozhan, Dragon's Legacy. I put the apostrophe in the wrong place, I'm realizing. Anyway, 3, blue-red. He does have flying. Whenever you cast an adventure spell or dragon spell, he deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander. So that can be another player, that can be any other creature that's not a commander. The dragons, one of the kind of downsides is that they have a very high casting cost most of the time, and this is going to turn it into an advantage. Also, any adventure. You think adventures and dragons might not go together? They really do. Because there are many dragons that have adventure, first of all, and secondly, because it just gives you more flexibility. I think this would not be a deck as focused on dragons as, say, the last one, but you'd still be able to get a fair amount of dragons and adventures out of this. Anyway, 14 cents. Number 8. Tanazir, Quandrix. So 3, green, blue. We've got our Simic here. Another 4/4. Flying Trample. Flying Trample is just such a great combination. I've ranted about that several times now, so I won't bother. When it enters the battlefield, double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. So you're going to double those counters. There's your first way to build this. It's a +1/+1 counters deck, and Simic is quite good with those +1/+1 counters, but yeah. And whenever it attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to its power and toughness until end of turn. So even those +1/+1 counters, if you start throwing them on, Tanazir, you can boost him up. There's one kind of downside there, is that the main, I think, usage for his first ability, where you're doubling those counters, is to flicker him. But if you flicker him, he loses +1 counters, or +1/+1 counters, I should say. So, yeah, kind of works. That one trick is going to be really good for the +1/+1 counters on other creatures, and really bad for them on himself. So, kind of a weird one, but you can, I think, building +1/+1 Simic without having your a lot of flicker is very easy. And also, you can make a bunch of 1/1 tokens, and they're going to be massive, right? Anytime Tanazir attacks. Anyway, 85 cents. Number 7. Okay, Okagachi, Vengeful Kami. So we got 1 Wooburg, so 6 CMC. That's a bit high, but still. It's a white, blue, black, red, green. And so this is our first Wooburg one. With the dragons, I think, again, like I said, Gruul or Wooburg is your, kind of creme de la creme. We've got ones that are not, that you can kind of focus on other mechanics with. But yeah, if you want to really do a heavy dragon deck, you want to get either Gruul or Wooburg, I think, are your color identities you want to go with. So whenever Okagachi, I made it sound like, what are the Kamagachi, right? That's what I was thinking of. Anyway. Vengeful Kami deals combat damage to a player. If that player attacked you during his or her last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. So this is just permanently making it so anyone who attacks you is going to be sorry. You've got removal, not just removal, exile. Right? Flying Trample means any damage that gets through is going to turn into this exile effect on top of being commander damage. And yeah, so attacking you is just painting this big old target on their back. You only really have to have this go off once or twice in a game, and everyone's gonna be like, okay, I don't want to attack that person. I'm gonna leave that player alone for a bit, I think. It's almost like what's the reverse of a political tool? A big stick. It's like a big stick commander. 79 cents. Number 6. Akul the Unrepentant. So we got black, black, red, red, Rakdos for this 5/5 Flying Trample. Okay, Flying Trample, 5/5 for only 4 CMC. Great start, right? Also, this was on my number 1 pick for the top niche dragons. So I'm going to try to remember to link that above. I've got a whole bunch of links to do this one. I think I'm going to probably forget something, but yeah. He's really good because sacrifice 3 other creatures. Just as creatures doesn't specify non-token or token or anything like that. So you want to do token. Anyway, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. It is only once each turn, but having a sack outlet and again, you can sacrifice 3 1/1 tokens that you can make very easily, especially in Rakdos, and get anything you want just straight into the battlefield. Remember, this is not being cast, so any casting effects would not go off. If, like Cascade is a cast trigger, it wouldn't happen. Your entering effects do happen, though. So if it says, when it enters the battlefield, this happens, yep, that's good. The cast trigger does not happen, though. So it's something to keep in mind. 18 cents. Number 5. Okay, we got Niv Mizzet, Guild Pact. Guild Pact. I'm saying pack. I don't know why. Another Wooburg one here. So again, great for dragons. But we have 5 for one of each color. He is a 6/6 flying hexproof from multicolored. That is deceptively good. Especially in Commander, there's going to be a whole lot of creatures that are multicolored. Remember, those creatures can't block, so they need to be flying like monocolored creatures just to be able to block him at all. Whoa, yeah. And if they can't, let's see what happens. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards and you gain X life, where X is the number of different colors pairs among permanents you control that are exactly 2 colors. So this is all about getting as many permanents as you can with 2 colors. So yeah, the pips should only have 2 colors of pips, but it could have multiple color or pips of those colors. So if it's like 2, a cool was black, black, red, red, that's still 2 colors, right? It doesn't say 2 pips, it says 2 colors. So there's a lot of ways to take advantage of this. That's really not much of a limitation, and you can get so many. That bonus is going to add up so quickly. You're dealing X damage to any target, so you could do it to a player, to whatever creature you want removed, whatever, and you're going to draw cards and gain life. So yeah, really just so strong. 17 cents. Number 4. Ramos Dragon Engine. So maybe some people saw this one coming, but it is 6, which is a little bit high, is my main complaint with this one, but still so good. Again, so we got a 4/4 flyer, and whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on him for each of that spell's colors. I would just go like full on cantrip deck, right? Just keep busting out the cantrips as quickly as you can and just stack up those things. Add some proliferate as well. As long as you can get between your casting and your proliferate, if you can do 5 +1/+1 counters per turn, let's see what happens. Remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos. Add 2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green. 10 mana of all the colors. Right? Or sorry, 2 of each color, 10 altogether. Activate only once each turn. So you can only use it once each turn, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would get insane. But yeah, you can turn this into just like pretty much anything, especially combined with something like Joda. This does count as being a Wooburg commander as well, because he has all the pips listed, so you can put in any card you want. And with Joda, that would mean like 2 of any spell. It doesn't matter what the CMC is, you're just going to cast the spell, boom, boom. Whew, very abusable. 114 only. This dropped a bit. Number 3. Okay, Atarka World Render 5, red green. There you go. There's your Gruul right there. This 6/4 Flying Trample. So this is actually another one that's on another list of my top dragons for like Kindred dragons. I had number 1 on the list for a good reason. And whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. There are some dragons that have similar effects, but this is really great, partly because Atarka does not need to attack to trigger this. This is any dragon attacks gets double strike. Just like that. Remember, double strike is first strike and regular attack. So yeah, unless they have first strike, they're getting hit first. Probably going down. And if they have trample, like Atarka does, the damage is going through after that anyway. 96 cents. Number 2. Okay, here's the one where you probably saw this one coming. This is not going to be a surprise to anybody. Especially not me. If you've seen my list recently, you'll probably be like, yeah, this keeps coming up. I've had a budget deck tech with him. I've had him on 2 lists he was supposed to be on, my EDH Rec Budget Commanders list. I actually left him off the second one because I think he was in another video as well. Yeah, all in the span of like 3 weeks, came up like 4 times on lists. Like, I had to leave him off the last time. Anyway, he's back on for this one at least. Okay, so 3 blue, 3 red, 6 CMC. Bit high, but this spell can't be countered. If you're going to cast something that has a high CMC like this, can't be countered is really big. And flying. Whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet Paran deals 1 damage to any target. So you can deal 1 damage to any target every time you draw. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. So yeah, a player, you or anyone else, draw a card, and that makes him do a damage. So pair with something like Curiosity, where every time he does a damage to a player, you get to draw a card, and you've got your infinite loop right there. A lot of people don't like infinite loops, and I get that, but like, it is something where it's not one of those infinite loops where you put it down and it just happens and it's like game's over or it doesn't happen. This you do have the control, right? You could do like 10 damage, draw 10 cards, and then shut it off by targeting anything else. So it's an infinite with an off switch. I feel like it's a bit different than like an infinite that just goes completely out of control. 169. Number 1. Okay, Niv Mizzet again, Supreme this time. So we've got Wooburg. Once again, Wooburg, right? Something to really, if you're, even the last one, the last Niv Mizzet was an Is It? You're not really building that as a dragon deck. That's probably like a cantrip burn deck. This is back to like potentially real dragon deck. With a Spellslinger sub-theme, or maybe major theme is what I should say. Flying Hexproof from Monocolored. The Hexproof from Monocolored is going to like just totally put a stop to all kinds of removal and like tricks that you don't want to deal with. It's just going to like nip it in the bud. It's a really nice little bonus. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard that's exactly 2 colors has Jumpstart. That is not a limitation. Again, he's Wooburg. So there are 10 different 2-color combinations that you can get out of that. And they can do just about everything. Especially, yeah, you've got things like Hypersonic Dragon that can also give your sorceries flash. I don't know why I spaced on that all of a sudden. So yeah, you can potentially just keep casting things whenever you want. And your graveyard becomes like your spell book. Graveyard hate is a big problem with him, but we also got plenty of ways to protect our graveyard if we need be. So yeah, definitely include some of those. But yeah, 23 cents. Top 10. Okay. So we got Scanos, Dragonheart, plus the background is 13 cents. Lo's Hand, Dragon's Legacy. Apostrophe in the wrong place again. 14 cents. Tanazir Quandrex, 85 cents. Simic is an interesting one. I'm not sure how good. I haven't looked at Simic dragons in particular. I wonder if you could go heavy into dragons with that. I probably wouldn't bother, but... Okagachi Vengeful Kami, 79. And Akul the Unrepentant is 18 cents. Keep in mind, any token deck is like token high CMC you get to combine with that one, so I think that's quite nice. Nimeza Guild Pact, 17 cents only. Woo! Ramos Dragon Engine, 114. Fallon price. Atarka World Render is 96 cents. Should be more. Niv-Mizzet Paran is 169. This is down a bit too. Niv-Mizzet Supreme, 23 cents. Alright, take it easy.